So you want to learn how to fix back pain fast? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you 6 amazing strength and flexibility movements that are guaranteed to fix that back pain and stop it from ever coming back again.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
If you're suffering lower back pain, then of course the first thing that you really need to do is make sure that there's nothing sinister going on there. But in our experience as trainers, and I've been a coach now for 17 years running Unity Gym and our online fitness business, the UMS, and what I've learned is that the majority of lower back pain can be dramatically reduced, or if not fixed, through some very simple strengthening and stretching exercises. Now, I've suffered from a pars defect in my L5. I've got spondylolisthesis in L4 and L5. I am someone that knows all about lower back pain, and if I don't do this stuff, I'm going to masseuses and chiropractors all the time, and they're nothing more than a band-aid solution. They're great, they do make you feel a lot better, and it is a part of what I do to manage myself, but what I'm about to show you is going to seriously change the way that you experience lower back pain. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a follow-along routine here that you can do with me. I'll just do 1 round, but if you did this yourself, you could do anywhere between 1 and 3 rounds. You can do it daily if you do less rounds, less volume, or you can do it maybe 2 or 3 times a week if you want to do a little bit more volume, meaning more sets, okay? So the first exercise that we're going to do is a single leg squat. And you can load this up with a dumbbell, but if you're somebody that's new to exercise and you haven't done this stuff before, just body weight might be enough for you. Now we're going to stand on one leg here, and I'm going to bend forward like this at the hips, and then a little bend in the knee, and then I'm going to stand up and drive forward. Now, it's all about the way that you stand up and drive forward. That's what really uses the glutes. And if I wanted to grab myself a weight for this, and this is a pretty decent weight, I've just grabbed the closest weight to me, it's 25 kilos or about 60 pounds, something like that. So I wouldn't try a weight like this if you're new to this stuff, but so you just hold the weight like this and come up, okay? So bending forward at the hip and then coming back up and driving the hips forward. So if we do with a decent weight like this, if I say do 10 to 12 reps, but you can also do 20 reps with a lighter weight. So you could do this in different ways. You could do some workouts where you do, so we'll change legs now. You can do some workouts where you do like 10 to 12 reps with a heavier weight. And then you could do other workouts where you do much more reps with a lighter weight. And they're both going to be beneficial, because when you do the more endurance, the higher rep range, you're going to train more of the stabilization system in the hip, okay? And when you do a lower rep range with a heavier weight like this, we're going to train much more of the prime movers in the glutes, the big muscles, the gluteus maximus and stuff, okay? So we're going to do a set of those. You can take a little bit of a break if you want, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I won't do that. We'll go straight into this. We're going to do a prone isometric hold. So you need a fit ball for this one, and there's several different ways that you can do this to make it easier and harder. So first is to have your feet down on the ground. Bring the ball down as low as you can before losing your balance. And the easiest version, we're going to go like this. You can make it harder by bringing your arms up like this. And what we want to try to avoid is arching the back. We want to try and keep the hips forward, okay? Tense in the glutes, arms up like this. And then if you want to make it harder, you can bring your legs up, okay? And then we can go back to this version, or to make it even harder, this version, I've got to bring the ball up a little bit more for that one, okay? And we're just going to hold this for up to 70 seconds. If you can get 70 seconds, then you definitely want to go for that slightly harder version. More than that is, it's not as effective. You get to a point of diminishing returns and you should be making it harder, okay? Hey, in case we haven't met, my name is Rad Burmeister. I'm one of the co-founders of Unity Gym and co-creators of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we turn driven people into strong, flexible, and fit athletes. Now, if you want to know how we do that, there's 3 awesome ways that you can get started. Number 1, get one of our free blueprints. There's a link in the description of this video for the strength blueprint, flexibility blueprint. We've got a whole bunch of great freebies that give away the breakthrough moments that we had in our decades of training that got us to where we are now. Second way you can get started with us is jump in and grab one of our programs. We've got calisthenics programs, strength programs, flexibility, skill, injury rehab. We've got a whole bunch of great things that will really make an impact on your training and drive you towards your goals. And hey, if you're a high achiever and you're ready to get serious, then jump on a 30-day free trial of our UMS online coaching course, where you're going to work with me personally, my brother, my whole team, and get access to our exclusive UMS coaching program, where we have done for you 1-hour workouts that cover strength, flexibility, and fitness in a periodized program that is guaranteed to give you better results than anything you've done before. So that's the Fitball prone isometric hold. Now, the first muscle, the first exercise, we're really working the stabilization system in the hips, okay, by doing this single leg squat. Very important to alleviate your lower back pain. This one here, we're basically working the entire posterior chain in an isometric contraction, which is very important because that's the way that the posterior chain works to help hold you up. And one of the major problems that causes lower back pain is a weak posterior chain, weak glutes that aren't doing their job when you're standing up, and you sort of start to go into this slouched, really lazy posture that puts a lot of pressure on the lower back, and it causes muscles to hold you up that aren't designed for that. Okay, so that's the idea of these exercises. Next one we're going to do is a pull-off press here. Okay, so we're going to stand in a lunge with if the band's coming from my left, I've got my right leg forward, and then from here I'm going to pull the band in front of me so that it's a little bit tight. I'm going to push my hips forward and keep my rib cage down, and then I'm going to push straight in and out. Okay, straight in and out like this. Okay, that's the easier version. The harder version is going to be to just hold it right there like that. And this is what we call an anti-rotational exercise. Proven to be a little bit safer for the back, for the lower back, in terms of rotational exercises. So in terms of, if you compare this to exercises where you are rotating to create the strength, they're not as effective and not as safe as an anti-rotational exercise, where this is the band is trying to rotate me, but I'm fighting it. And that's going to help work the core muscles, the obliques, in a much safer way that's going to really help to strengthen the muscles that we need to be strong to fix that lower back pain. Now, the next thing that we need to look at is muscles that become tight that are a contributing factor to lower back pain. And we're going to look at the hip flexors, the hamstrings, and the glutes, okay? So for the hip flexors, we're just going to do a really simple and basic hip flexor stretch, where from here you're going to come down in a lunge. We're going to tuck the hips forward. So by tucking the hips forward like this, so under the body, I'm going to lengthen the hip flexor, okay? And then from here, we're going to lean into it, just a little bit, lean into it. And then I'm getting this really nice stretch down here in my hip flexors, okay? And we're going to hold this for about 60 seconds, okay? So let's just hold it for a little while here. And one of the reasons why these are such a major contributing factor to lower back pain is that when you sit down, so if you imagine this is the position that both legs are in when I'm sitting down, this leg here, my hip flexors are really short here. And when they're short like this, then what happens is, as you stand up, if I exaggerate, the hip flexors don't want to lengthen, and so what they do, they pull the hips forward like this because they're short. So that if they want to lengthen, my hips need to go like this to lengthen the hip flexors. So when they're shortened, they're pulling my pelvis like this, and again, that just adds to this pressure on the lower back, okay? So we'll change sides. So lengthening the hip flexors, stretching them out is a really important part of this whole strategy for relieving your lower back pain. And trust me, this stuff works. Even if all you did is how long I'm doing it for in this video, if you literally just did this one set like what I'm doing and you just went through it in 5 minutes or whatever this is taking, if you did this daily, I guarantee you your lower back pain will start to subside as long as you don't have any major issues that are going on there. So I'm talking like, well, look, you know, if you do want to go and see a specialist, a doctor, maybe get some scans and just make sure that there's nothing, you know, sinister going on there. Don't take what I'm giving you here in this video as medical advice. But for the majority of people that are just suffering general lower back pain, this is going to have a major impact on it. So there's our hip flexor stretch. Now the next one that we're going to do is for the hamstrings, and we're going to do a really basic hamstring stretch, something that almost anybody can do regardless of your level of flexibility. So if we bend the knees a little bit and put our hands on the knees, the easier version is going to be we're just going to do one leg at a time. So I push this knee back and then push the other knee back like this. So I'm just pushing, by pushing that knee back, I'm stretching out the hamstrings, okay? This is very basic stuff, everybody, but for most people that are looking on how to fix lower back pain, you know, they're not looking for any gymnastic style routines. If you want to see any more of our advanced flexibility routines, there's plenty of them on our YouTube channel. We've got some really advanced stuff. And then what you can do is you can do both legs together. And of course, if you're more flexible, you can just come forward further and do it like this. But what you're always looking for when you do these hamstring stretches is that we want to try to avoid having the back rounding. If the back's rounding like this when you're doing it, then there's other issues that we need to address, like posterior chain awareness and also hamstring flexibility, okay? And of course, you know, anybody that's really flexible, you can come right down and do it. And then the last stretch that we're going to do, this is the last one for this routine, we're going to do a glute stretch, and this is a little bit challenging on the Fitball. I'm adding a little bit of difficulty to this for me. It's much easier if you're sitting on a seat. So I'm going to lift this leg up here, okay, and just find my balance. And then what I'm going to do is just apply gentle pressure down to this knee whilst trying to sit up straight. So an issue that people have when they do this is that they twist and lean, and that's to make up for the lack of flexibility that they've got in that glute. So if you try and sit up straight and also apply gentle pressure, so I'm just pushing down gently here on my knee, that's a beautiful stretch in my glute there that I can feel. And if you're flexible enough, whilst you're doing that, you can also try to lean forward just a little bit. And that all just depends obviously on how flexible you are. And again, we're going to hold this one for up to 60 seconds on each side. So I'll just do about 30 seconds on this side and then we'll change sides. Now, you could do this whole routine 2 or 3 times over, no problem at all. And if you feel the next day that you have a little bit of DOMS, so that delayed onset of muscle soreness where you're feeling like, ooh, my muscles are a bit sore and tight today, just don't do the strengthening movements that day, but you can still obviously do the stretches. You can do the stretches every day as long as you don't go too hard. And if you don't feel DOMS, if you feel okay the next day, then by all means, go again. These kind of things, if you do them at like basically the less load you put on the body, the more often you can do it. And because this is the nature of these exercises, part of it is developing strength through hypertrophy. That is a part of it, but it's a small part. A much greater part is developing your neuromuscular connection, where the brain is basically being reminded of what it needs to do with the muscles in order to facilitate standing in a way and moving in a way that doesn't put pressure on the lower back. And our brain just forgets how to do that from too much of this, from sitting down too much, you know. This horrible posture that we get in when we're sitting down or when we're slouching back on a seat and nothing's really working the way that it's meant to. And this whole routine is there to help reverse that. So I hope you got something out of that. Let us know if you've got any questions. Hit us up in the comments. I'll answer them as best as I can. And check out our whole series this week. We're doing a series on injury rehabilitation, and there's some really good stuff for a lot of the common injuries that we get asked questions about. See you soon. Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, consider subscribing to our channel and make sure you click the notification bell so you know when our weekly videos are uploaded. Now, the best thing for you to do if you want to stay connected with us and get free online coaching is to join our private Facebook group. It's called the UMS Movement Mastermind, and we go live daily where we answer our members' questions. It's very interactive because you can post questions while we're live and we interact with you on the show. You can also upload videos or pictures of yourself with any movements, any stretches, strength training movements, calisthenics, weightlifting, anything that you're struggling with, and we'll critique you, give you feedback, let you know how you can get better. It's a really valuable resource. It allows a lot of communication with us and also our senior tribe members. You'll get answers very, very quickly, and it's absolutely free. So jump on Facebook, search for UMS Movement Mastermind and join now. Until next time, have a great day.